Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 2 of Mugs with the Mayor. Glad that you have decided to join us for another episode. To all those that have listened to the first episode, we want to say thank you. I'm joined again with Alden Lucas, who's handling communications for the city of Sheridan. But we also have a special guest today. Alden, you want to introduce our guest?
This guest has many titles. She's a jack of all
traits.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruth. See, finish my sentence. She is the heart of our office at City Hall. Please welcome Ruth Ann Nutt.
That's great.
Welcome, Ruth. Do you mind telling the wonderful audience what your title is here at City Hall?
I have many titles. My title on my office door is administrative assistant, and then I'm also the street department supervisor.
I think I changed Ruth Ann's...
chief of staff. That was our newest title.
Yeah, her newest title is chief of staff because that's really what she does. She runs staff, especially like if I'm out of the office or in a meeting. She gets her done. You know, I'm really glad Ruth Ann's on with us today. You know, a fun fact about Ruth Ann. You know, I was taking over after previous Mayor Joe Wise was definitely a transition just because Joe had been here over 30 years. And so day one, I was already nervous. Regina, who was the previous office administrator under Joe Wise, retired with him. And so Ruth Ann was my first hire. And let me tell you, best decision I've ever made. Best decision. Isn't that right, Ruth?
Yeah, I always say Kane wouldn't be the mayor. Actually, I say this on the mean days that I'm mean to him and he's mean back. But I tell him that he wouldn't be the mayor if it wasn't for me.
And it's very true. It's very true. I could not survive without Ruth Ann. So.
All right, enough tooting our own horns. Her ego's big enough. Let's tell us what a day of your position is at City Hall.
So my day starts pretty early at the street department at 7. Make sure everyone's there. Make sure I have enough drivers. Make sure I have riders on the trash truck. Make sure no one's sick, collect the bills or receipts. Sometimes I get the payroll whenever that's due. Just kind of make sure everybody's on the same page and kind of start our day out right. And then my day at the office starts around 8 o'clock. The office is open at 8 o'clock. Sometimes I'm not here at 8 o'clock. I do my best. And then kind of go from there. On a boring day, the most boring day, answer the phone, answer my emails, answer my voicemail, sell business licenses, building permits. That's what a lot of what we do lately. Our building permits processing has changed, and we sell electrical, HVAC, commercial, residential, all those things, and that's a little bit more than what we did before. So we sell a lot of those. Business licenses, kind of ebbs and flows. Our business licenses, the fiscal year is from July to July. So if it's not in the summer, it's we don't do as much of that in the winter. But just kind of deal with people as needed, walk-ins, problems, mostly that's what we deal with, people that call.
Well, and that's, you bring up that point, but most people, when they call our office, they may be having one of their worst days. I've figured that out, and it's not because they just want to complain, but sometimes there's a general need going on.
Yeah.
Now there are some that are complaining and they don't even live in the city, which is crazy.
Right.
And we've talked about that before. I think we may have mentioned it last episode, where the city limits is just crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you deal with too is, you deal with the local realtors when it comes to our zoning.
Right.
What property is zoned. Luckily, we're working with a engineering company right now to have a
New
PDF,
zoning map, yeah.
A new updated zoning map to make accessible on our website, which is going to be great. Probably minimize some of the phone calls that you get at the office, just because people call up here and just ask, hey, what this address, what is this zoned, or hey, do I need a building permit? I live at this address, and sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. So, but I really appreciate Ruth. She handles the office here. She does a wonderful job, and going back to what she said earlier, I would not be doing the best in my position if it wasn't for her, and of course the rest of the staff. But Ruth Ann especially, I'm very thankful for, because she keeps me at check, and she tells me how it is sometimes when I need to hear it. So, going back to sanitation, Ruth, how big is your sanitation force? Because there's a difference between sanitation and street, ultimately, correct?
Right. Sanitation is just essentially trash. So I have 3 technically sanitation employees that get paid out of sanitation fund, which means I have the driver, and then I have I have 2 drivers and a rider, and then I have to switch out drivers sometimes when one person's sick, and then I have the street department, which is separate from sanitation, like Kane said. It's separate funding. We have different funding. One of our 1% sales tax, we have 25% of that goes to a street fund, and so it's very specific on how you can spend that money.
And state turnback as well.
Right.
Monthly, we get state turnback
Right.
funding from the state, and
So that's
you know.
why we have separate street sanitation.
Yeah.
So street department is like my brush truck, which is my leaf truck, the vacuum truck that sucks up the leaves and
keep
whatnot.
our gutters clean,
Yep. And then I have a dump truck that's also considered a street truck, and then I have 4 pickups, I think, and then I have 5 or 6, depending, street employees.
Well, and even our sanitation department, it
Yeah.
utilizes our 309
Right.
program through our detention center, correct?
Right, so that saves us a little bit of money on one of my garbage truck riders. Thankfully, they let me use one of their 309s to ride the garbage truck, so I don't have to pay 2 people to ride the back of the garbage truck. I only have to pay 1 person to ride the back of the garbage truck, which it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but in the long run, it's saved the city hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
Over the past, I don't know how many years we've been using the 309 program.
It was under the previous administration. Joe Wise oversaw that, and I think Jim Lancaster, back when he was in, which Jim Lancaster is one of our council members, and I plan to have him on the podcast. I actually want to have all of our council members one at a time on to just discuss different committees that they serve on.
Right.
But I think when Jim was back, when he was a state legislator, he actually, because most counties have detention centers. We're one of the only cities that in the state of Arkansas, I think we're one of maybe 2 or 3
Right.
that have a detention center, and it comes with pros and cons for sure. But one of the pros is this 309 program, and we utilize these state inmates that come in. We house them, and then they get to ride the back of our garbage truck. We use some out at Parks and Rec to get mowing done. We've had one here that would come through and clean our office. And so, I mean, it's a great program, and ultimately it saves the taxpayers money, and we're extremely grateful for that. But tell us about sanitation, Ruth. I know that, that a lot of people don't know how many days a week you run, how big these routes are.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of unanswered questions, and a lot of people really don't understand sanitation.
One of the biggest questions we get here at City Hall is pickups too.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It definitely can vary from time to time. It's weird, but there's main days for pickups for certain types of pickups. And then there's cardboard. There's actual trash, and then there's limbs. There's so many things that people get confused.
Well, and in this time of year, the biggest thing that we're going to see within the next few weeks is, the trees are going to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting colder right now, and so I mean, people are going to start raking their yards and pine straw and all that, and that's real fun for your department. I know your guys are really looking forward to that. But so break down some of that for us.
So we run the sanitation and street department 5 days a week. Our Monday route is probably the shortest route for our trash. That's what I mean when I say route. It's Legacy Point,
I think downtown area.
some of the downtown area, and then
Well, most people know their trash day.
yeah.
So
If you don't know your trash day, just call our office. We have a big map and we can tell it to you pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Tuesday and Wednesdays are the longest routes. So Tuesdays, Jacob Creek, and then all of Toller and all that subdivision. And then Wednesdays is a really long route. I have no idea what even Wednesday is. I just know that it's the longest one because it takes them sometimes past 1 o'clock to do, which is why we started at 6 o'clock this summer because it got really hot.
Yeah.
And then Thursdays is more downtown areas. Same thing with Friday. I don't know. If you don't know your trash route, just call us. We'll let you know. And then cardboard. People get confused on cardboard because it's the last full week of the month, which...
Well, it's changed because
It
it
does
used to
change.
be every Thursday. I think that's
Right.
one big misunderstanding because,
the
back
county
when
can't take it
back
every
when, and I think it
It's just too
started.
much. Yeah.
I think it started when they had just started taking cardboard out at solid waste. Which, by the way, the city does not run the solid waste.
It's a county dump.
That
County,
is,
Grant
it's
County
county.
solid waste.
County, yes. Grant
We
County
do not
solid
own the dump.
Yes, and a lot of people get confused by that. I cannot tell you how many people have personally texted me on Saturday, hey, is the dump open? And which I know, so I text them back, yes, but, it's not our dump. We don't run that. We don't set prices. That's strictly the county.
Yeah.
But back when they started taking cardboard, I think the city operated because there wasn't as much cardboard, but it was every Thursday.
Well, and before we started taking cardboard, people would just put it in their trash and we would just pick it up. Well, then it got to be a problem with in our compactor in the garbage truck, which then causes the weight to be a little bit too much, and then it absorbs too much liquid, and then same deal with the dump. So then their compactors have the same problem, and it gets stopped up, the cardboard. And so then we started taking it separately, and then, anyways, now we've evolved. We just do it once a month, which is the last full week of the month, which means Monday through Friday has to be, like this month in October, it will be the 21st through the 25th. So that means Monday through Friday is within that whole month.
Yeah, so October, technically the last week in October is the 28th through ultimately November the 1st on Friday. But that's not the full
October,
last week of the month. So cardboard pickup this month, 21st through the 25th.
On your specific trash day. So
yes.
You just set it out with your trash, not
in your trash.
Not in your trash, but separately beside it, because we don't, like I said, we don't get it in the garbage truck. We come by in a pickup truck later and get it, and then we take it to the dump and recycle it. And if we miss it, that's okay. We will be glad to come back out and get it. If you miss, and that goes for anything. If we miss your trash, or if we miss your cardboard, or if we, I didn't talk about bulk pickup yet, but bulk pickup is every Thursday. So if you have a refrigerator, or a washer,
dresser,
or a chair, or,
microwave.
Yeah. Whatever you have, we pick it up on Thursdays. And if we miss it, like I said, just call us. Call our office anytime.
Absolutely.
We'll be glad to come back out and get it. Oh, yard waste. We do yard waste all the time. So, like I said, I have four pickups that pick up yard waste.
Yeah,
and sticks and limbs. And
it's kind of on I would say a 2-week schedule.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And really, especially during
the busier months.
Especially as we're coming into the winter months. We're going to be on that 2-week rotation. And like I said, if it sits out there for a while, feel free to call us. We have a working list up here. I know Ruth Ann keeps a notepad strictly on her desk for yards that need to be picked up. But going back to trash, Ruth Ann, when should people put their trash can out?
You should put it out the night before, because, like I said, this summer we ran at 6 a.m., which is typically before people get up and leave for work. So you can easily forget, because we're there at the crack of dawn. So we like to say to put out the night before. And I didn't mention, we only pick up bagged trash. And then that's, like I said, because I have 2 riders on the back of the truck, and they physically get off of the back of the truck and pick up the bags out of your cans and into the truck. We don't have a big clamp like the waste management trucks. We don't have a big dump. We just have these guys that just jump off the back and grab your trash and throw it in the truck. So we can only pick up bag trash because of our workers' comp rule.
So we cannot pick up any loose trash whatsoever.
We don't pick up any loose trash. Not because we don't want to, but because that's what our workers' comp says for us to do, and we like to follow the rules. So just make sure all your trash is bagged, and that's why we have a separate pickup for bulk. So
okay, so let me ask you this question. Hypothetically, let's say Alden.
Chill.
Let's use Alden as an example here. Say Alden has a trash can, and he just decides, instead of putting it in bags, he just piles piece by piece into the trash can. Will the guys pick up the can and dump it in to the trash truck, or does it need to be bagged?
It has to be bagged, just because I can't say that they can pick up every can. I mean, theoretically, a huge can of trash is going to be really heavy, and they can't just pick up a big can of trash and dump it. That's a mess, obviously. So please bag all of your trash,
Absolutely.
and we'll be glad to get it.
And you really don't, I mean, I wouldn't even, you're not recommended to have a trash can.
You don't even have, we have some people that make their own trash cans. If you have, like, dogs in your neighborhood that eat your trash, or I have birds at my house that eat my trash. So people have created these, like, you can use a big 50-gallon drum if you want to use for your trash we don't have a specific kind of trash can that you can have.
Mm.
Then I have somebody that's made a trash barrel out of like pallets if you want to do that.
Whatever it is, you want it out the night
Whatever
before, though?
it is, just put it out the night before and bag it.
Children, listen to that. I got so many whoopings as a kid from my mom because I said I was going to do it that morning and I forgot to.
Absolutely.
So listen to Miss Ruth. She knows best.
And let me tell you too. We have people call up here all the time, and their first thing is, "Man, your guys missed my trash." And while
we do make mistakes,
and I will say our guys have missed trash before, especially training our new driver.
Right.
We have made some mistakes. Our guys know where the cans are, so ultimately, we're gonna know if you're telling a story because that camera on the garbage truck.
The best way to get your trash picked up, if you miss the trash pickup, is to say, "Hey, I think I forgot to put my trash out in time today. Would you like to come back and get it?" And I will always say, "Yes, of course we would like to come back and get it." I don't love when people say, "You forgot my trash today," because somehow I just don't believe that. So, which is fine. We will, like I said, we'll always be glad to come back and get it. Pretty much, even if you accuse us of not getting it, we will typically come back and get it.
Absolutely.
Also, I just have to say, if we don't get your trash, we don't pick up your trash if you have missed your water payment, if you have not paid your water bill.
So yeah,
because that's who collects our sanitation fees. That's on your water bill.
Yes. So even if, especially there's several individuals who live within city limits that may not be on our water service.
Right.
So it's like
but
I'm thinking
trash service.
Specifically like Grant 9. I know your guys drive out to Grant 9. There's several out there that aren't on our water. They're not on our sewer, but they're on our trash.
Right. So you just have to pay your
you would set that service up through Sheridan Waterworks, which is 942.
2722.
27. See, what would I do without Ruth? But 2722. You'd set that up through them. They would bill you directly, which on your water bill, it's about $17 is your sanitation fee.
Right.
And that's...
Which is very cheap,
yes. And honestly, you may say, man, that's expensive. But honestly, it's one of the cheapest sanitation fees around. And we're glad to keep that. And, just monthly average, I know Ruth Ann requisitions it when we pay it, but when we go to dump trash out at the county, I think we pay anywhere between $17,000 to almost $20,000 a month just to be able to, just for dump fees. And so that's why it is $17 because we have to be able to pay that. So, I mean, hopefully this has given you an idea of our street and sanitation department. I really hope that, if you get a chance, man, get out and if you see the guys working hard, man, tell them you appreciate them. Because I cannot imagine
being out in the heat all day long.
Hey, shout out to them. That trash does stink, but they always smell so good though. The people working. shout out to the people out there, man. I don't know how they do it.
Shout out to Jeremy.
Yeah, shout out to Jeremy.
And it's great. I know that every department has its problems, Ruth. I know that you've had your issues, but we really do appreciate you for running that department well. And I really hope that individuals see how hard you're working, and especially your guys out there at street and sanitation. And as our city continues to grow, that will ultimately continue to grow. I mean, the more people, the more trash. Mm-hmm. Not that people are trashy. It's
people
just people have trash. So
and I will say, I did not. I did sign up for this, but previously David Fitzgerald had done this job for the supervision of the street and sanitation. So I just kind of stepped in for this when he was kind of at his wit's end. And we don't want him to retire. No. We want him to stay forever and do the water.
Absolutely.
So I kind of said, well, you know what? I think I can do it. I'll be fine. I can do it. And so I kind of stepped in and I figured it out, I feel like.
No, you've done a great job, Ruth. And I try to not.
Of course, they don't love to have to respect a young woman who's in a position of power, but I've done my best, and they really have done so well, and I don't really have any complaints. They really are. They call me Miss Ruth Ann, and
It's like an 80-year-old grandma.
Yeah, but they're pretty nice.
They are. They do a good job.
Yeah.
They do a good job, and like Ruth has stated, if you have any issues or you forget to put out your trash, just call us. If you're having problems with figuring out what day you need to put it out, call us.
And I always say people will message Kane, or they'll text Kane, or they'll complain to Kane about the street department, and I kind of get frustrated because that's not his fault. I mean, he is my boss, but it's not his fault. Ultimately, that's my job to do and deal with. So if you have problems, please call me. Don't call him, because it's not his complaint department to handle.
Well, it's
and that's how he can do his job. It's for me to do my job and for all of us to do our own parts.
When y'all send me those texts, I just forward them to Ruth anyway. So, no, but for real, I'm thankful for Ruth, thankful for her guys. Again, want to say thank you to all of our listeners. I know that we had several last time. And just to explain what Mugs with the Mayor is all about, it's about transparency. We want you to have all the facts, all the information. One thing we really didn't get to talk a lot about today was like street projects. Right. While Ruth is the street department supervisor,
I don't do a lot of projects.
I normally step in and handle all those street projects. She helps me with requisitioning. And
I do the day-to-day stuff. He does the bigger projects and whatnot.
So, as you can probably tell, we just finished a street project on Williams Way.
Yeah.
And that was a great project that we just got done. We're fixing to start a project through State Aid Street Fund, which is a completely... it's grant money that we're just receiving, up to $300,000, and we're getting to repave and widen Walker Drive, and we're going, instead of chip sealing a portion of Frank Clark Road, we're going to pave it. And so it's definitely something that's awesome. We're going to apply for that again. But no, in an upcoming episode, I'll break down several street projects that we've been able to do the last 2 years, really look at those. But just wanted to get on today and hear from Ruth Ann. And Ruth, we're so thankful that you joined us.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
We didn't. Hey, Mugs with the Mayor. We didn't forget the mug part. Ruth, please describe your mug you're holding right now and what's in it.
I don't need any more caffeine today, so I'm having some apple cider because it's a little chilly outside. It's a cute little mug I got from one of my friends in college. It says, "Love you, friend."
Today I am rocking the Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, one of the best Star Wars movies, mug. In it is a portion of my Milltown large vanilla latte, sugar-free, with an extra shot. Hot.
And I am holding a Arkansas Razorback mug because woo pig suey.
Yeah, we have
Let's
a
go.
weekend.
Yep.
Man, episode 2 down, Kane. I love our City Hall employees here, and I can't wait to introduce even more after this episode.
Absolutely. Hey, like I said, give us some feedback. Feel free to send in some questions if you have that we can discuss. But again, going back, we're doing this for transparency, and hope you got all your answers on sanitation and street. And again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.